Hello my friends and welcome to another Battletech Revised Dev Diary / sneak peek / update. I know a few of you guys have commented that you're thirsty for some more Battletech, and so I mean, just to make it clear, we are looking for a release in the next, say, between 1 week and 3 weeks. It's just taken a very long time because we are literally by hand going through every mech in the game and rebalancing them and examining their place and their role within Battletech Revised. And at the moment a great process is underway to provide mechs with all the correct tags which are used for various functionalities within the mod, and that task is about 60% complete, and when that's done there are a few other things to revise and look at and do, and then I've got to go through everything in terms of the completed designs, which are currently being done by a group of absolutely awesome volunteers who are getting the work done to a set of guidelines that we've laid out, and then I've got to go through and review it all. So there's a lot to do, and currently there is one not showstopper, but basically our stores are not working. They're just running, they're just the default stores that come with the game, as it were, and we wanted to incorporate some much better functionality into the store system, the shopping system, and that's being held up at the moment because the member of the team who's working on it is inundated with work due to the ongoing corona pandemic. So obviously working on this is what I've been doing, and I've even been sacrificing my channel to do so. We're doing this out of a labor of love for Battletech, basically. I mean, as you guys are probably aware watching me right now, most of you are aware, pretty much all of the YouTubers have moved on from Battletech, but I was always a gamer with a love for TBS and a love for Battletech long before I was a YouTuber, so here I still am. And while I could be spending this valuable time growing my channel and making industry connections and all that kind of stuff, I'm here making Battletech Revised. That's how strongly and passionately I feel about it, and all the members of the team are sacrificing their own personal commitments and time to make this the best mod for gameplay that's out there. That's our goal. We just want something that's really fun to play, and we want to deliver that to you. So I think we're going to need at least another 1 to 3 weeks. We might need more, I don't know. If you want to join the test team and play the unfinished version, you can. I did provide the link in the last video to our Discord. I'll provide it again this time. At the moment I wouldn't say that the mod is quote-unquote playable, because there's still lots of errors with some of the mechs, obviously with the shop system, etc. So that's where we are with Battletech Revised. We're working very hard on it. Now, in terms of showing you guys something that is finished, we have our pilot system. Now, the key with the pilot system is, and I've just loaded up an old base game campaign here so I can show off the skills. You will not be able to get 10, 10, 10, 10 pilots. That's the first thing that we've changed. You will be able to get 2 skills to level 10 if you sacrifice the other skills quite considerably. So you will not have this wall of benefits because you will not have the EXP to buy them all. There'll be enough EXP to get 2 to level 10 and the other 2 skills to level 4 or 5-ish if you really push for 2 10s. If you go for a more modest, more rounded build, you can probably get 8, 8, 7, 7 or something along those lines, 9, 8, 7, 6. So that's the first thing. Now, we wanted every level to be meaningful. So what we've done is we have added benefits to every level with additional benefits as the skill grows. Now, that looks like a huge sort of overhaul and change in itself. But in terms of the skills, we didn't really want to touch the ones which we felt were good. Because, you know, we're putting the gameplay first. The gameplay is the most important thing here. So what we've tried to do is fix some long-standing problems with various endgame skills that people never take. And also get rid of some skills that were just totally OP. Well, one skill in particular. So let's talk about the skills now. So, multi-target and breaching shot have not changed. Gunnery is still a great pick because it just increases your DPS, of course. It's not as strong of a bonus as it was in the base game. It's 2% per level. And we have now moved the cold shot bonus to gunnery. So, it's not big and it's not clever. It's not anything too special. But it's a core skill that adds DPS. It's always been a powerful skill. And we've just tweaked it down a little bit. But adding a cold shot bonus to it might give you a little bit more reason to take it up to breaching shot. We've always known that breaching shot is not the most powerful of skills out there. We do like breaching shot as a skill. There are some weapons out there which now benefit from breaching shot more so than in the base game. So breaching shot has been buffed by the nature of there being some better single shot weapons out there. The AC-20 and LBX-20 in particular have been buffed. So the breaching shot with them is just that little bit more painful. But with cold shot just before breaching shot, we're hoping to tempt you into taking breaching shot, but you don't have to take it. You could get a basic cold shot bonus without taking breaching shot, but those are our thoughts about the gunnery tree. In terms of the piloting tree, we've just slightly changed Ace Pilot in that now it allows you to retain some of your evasion pips. There are other benefits to things which were generally not that great. For example, there's now a DFA damage reduction. You'll be able to keep up to 50% of your pips, and you'll also have a melee defense granted to you, which doubles on the 10th pip. So, a lot of the ends of the trees grant the biggest bonus. But with our limited experience system, you will not be able to get 10 in everything. So it is worth it to take it to 10 to get the final lump sum bonus, if you like the particular bonuses. But just be advised, you won't be able to get to 10 with everything. One of the biggest changes is, of course, we got rid of Coolant Flush. Coolant Flush has always been OP. Always been OP. So Coolant Flush is gone. Replaced with Juggernaut. Now, Juggernaut was always a bit of a weak skill, so we've enhanced it. Now Juggernaut does two extra things. It will allow you to melee from a sprint, or if you melee from a walk, so if you melee at a standard distance, it will provide you with brace after your melee is completed. So this means that the Guts tree is now the offensive melee tree. And piloting provides melee defense. So if you're going to build for melee, then you really want piloting and Guts together. And that will mean with the EXP limitations that you cannot get gunnery. So just keep that in mind, that we want to encourage melee play. We think it's very cool, and we will be keeping an eye on the balance of it. We have enhanced Juggernaut to make it a tempting pick for any aspiring melee combatant. But in order to also be good defensively in melee, you're going to need piloting, which makes sense. Guts is your courage and your strength on the offense, and your piloting is actually your ability to bob and weave and evade and that is going to be most benefit to you in a melee defensively. So you'll want to take these two together if you favour a punch bot. As always, we keep a very careful eye on the balance and adjust and tweak if melee is too powerful. But we think that Juggernaut is an exciting pick for a melee mech, and Coolant Flush had to go because it's OP. I mean, if you had any sense and you ran assaults or heavies, you took Coolant Flush, because between Bulwark and Coolant Flush you just had offense and defense in one package, and we don't want that. So a tree either helps you attack or it helps you defend. It does not really enable you to do both, and that's what we're going for here. You're going to build pilots for purpose, not just have pilots that are amazing at combat in general. So you're going to build a melee monster, that's great, you can do that. But you will be sacrificing gunnery and tactics, and that means that you will not be getting that ranged capability that you'll find in a more traditionally built pilot. Finally, with tactics, it's the usual long range bombardment tree. It pairs well with gunnery, of course, because it enables various long range weapons to better target the enemy, especially, of course, long range missiles. We have included the ability to remove the move malice with tactics. So that means that after jumping, you'll be able to shoot with your standard 2-hit chance. Typically there is actually quite a heavy penalty to firing your weapons after jumping. But you'll note that that does not... The reason why that's part of tactics and not the melee tree is because obviously it's shooting after jumping. You can't melee after jumping typically unless you're DFAing. And DFAing is handled separately, and of course is enhanced by your piloting, which is your defensive, what would be considered your defensive melee tree, if you will. But obviously DFA ties into piloting more than it does into guts, although you might say that you need some guts to bother with a DFA. One thing that we did change was, so I've never liked sensor lock. I've always felt it's a very weak move. It's had its purpose in the base game as something that you would use, you know, if you were gonna if you're on a map where there's a pit or a ravine somewhere where you can hide, and you would just sit there behind a wall with sensor lock and sensor lock the enemy and bombard them with missiles until your missiles ran out. And I always thought it was a bad strategy anyway, because it's very exploitative of the AI, but the AI, if it can't attack you, it just, more often than not, it just runs about and braces, which means that often you're wasting lots of missiles unless you're running multi-shot, breaching shot with like LRM-20s or something and wearing them down that way. So, and we do note that, and I'll talk about this later, we do have HBS's cloaking device in our game. The AI does handle that much better these days, but it often over sensor locks and wastes turns. Because the biggest problem with the sensor lock is that it wastes a whole turn. So if you take Master Tactician, you will now be able to use sensor lock as a free action. So you can sensor lock every turn. If you are a Master Tactician, each turn you can select a victim to be sensor locked, and we feel this opens up a lot of choice and diversity for a player, because they'll be able to... I mean, sensor lock is not the hugest bonus in the world. It's like a -2 to hit on the victim, and obviously the victim has their weapons jammed for 2 as well, so it's like a +4 bonus, as it were. But I mean, you could fit a tracking computer for like a ton and get that kind of 2-hit bonus with every weapon against every target. So in the reality, or in the real world of what you can actually get on mechs, even with sensor lock as a free action that you can use every turn, it's still not the most powerful ability, but we actually feel like this gives it some strength. And the best thing about this is it fixes the AI, because the AI likes the sensor lock just stupidly, especially with turrets. A lot of turrets sensor lock for no reason, even when they have a valid shot to make. By making sensor lock a free action, all of those AI mechs that lose the plot sensor locking will now still have their turn go, and the turn to go, and the AI logic will be rerun, so they will then attack you. So this is going to make the AI pilots with sensor lock are going to be a lot more dangerous, and AI turrets especially with sensor lock are going to be a lot more dangerous, because they're going to be on your case every turn until you take them out. Now, you might say, well, that's going to be really annoying, if the enemy's got 8 units and they've all got sensor lock, I'm going to be sensor locked all day long. It's going to be a total nightmare to deal with. It's only a level 8 skill, so it's only towards the very end of the game that you're going to have to deal with sensor lock aggression and counter aggression. We are trying to avoid the situation where the beginning of the game is really, really, difficult, and then you get established and you have loads of stuff, and then the end of the game is just totally easy, and you roll through the game with your 4 assaults, or if you're me, with your 4 lights, and you just destroy everything, and the game's totally easy and boring, and then you start a new game because the game's easy and boring, and the end. Instead, when you start reaching the point now that the enemy AI pilots start to have level 8 skills in various categories, they will use them. So you are going to be encountering AI pilots that melee you from sprint range, and AI pilots that sensor lock relentlessly every turn while still attacking you. And that is by design. In the late game, we want you to be challenged. So we will keep an eye on this, but the feeling is that when you get to the late game and the AI unlocks these skills as well, you're going to find a lot more difficulty in winning the missions. And that is the point. Is the beginning should be easy, the middle should be moderately difficult, and the end game should be hard. That's how the difficulty curve should be. And that's what we're aiming for with Battletech Revised. I know that every other mod that I have played, and I've pretty much played them all, I can tell you for a fact that the beginning is always the hardest bit, the middle is, moderately difficult, and towards the end, when I've got all the things, it's easy. Ironically, the only exception to that rule was the base game when I played with 4 lights. That did get harder as it went along, but there was some ease in the difficulty as I started picking up like level 3 defense gyros and all that kind of thing. So that's what we're aiming for with this balance, and we hope that you will appreciate that you'll enjoy a harder late game. And of course, you can build 4 sensor lock tactical mastery pilots and sensor lock all the time, but I think you'll discover that even when it's free, sensor lock is not hugely useful if you have tons of it. It might be useful for just removing the evasion of a particular mech, but once a mech has got no evasion, or if it's bulwarked up, sensor lock is not really going to make the hugest difference anyway. So that is it for piloting. I just wanted to show you guys the piloting skills and all the consideration that's going into them. This is the part of the balance that we are least certain about, although we obviously have a strong game theory of how it should play out, and so of course we will be adjusting and revising once you guys have got your hands on Battletech Revised. If you're not part of the testers, and you're just waiting for the first release, obviously we will, as feedback comes in, we will look at adjusting some of this if we need to, but I think we have a very good base here. The main part of this is, a lot of this is if it ain't broke, don't fix it as well. The early skills are all quite alright, and they've just been left alone. Although obviously each point, each little bonus has obviously been carefully tweaked, but the 4 actual basic abilities, they're good as they are. They all offer tangible benefits which are interesting, and looking at the late game skills, we've made adjustments to bring the vision into line of, you know, am I an attacking long range mech? Am I a melee attacking mostly via melee mech? Do I want melee defense? Do I want long range and tactical capability? These are the choices that you're going to have to make. You won't be able to get them all. So that's it for now. I hope you guys find this interesting, and yeah, we just need time. We just need time to finish. There's so much to do, but we're getting there. So that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed this Battletech Revised dev update, and I will see you guys next time.